left and right hand side. First one I do want to talk about is the one on our left. That's the greater kudu. Member of the antelope family, looks like a female joining us. The females will have very small horns, whereas the males will have those large spiral horns. They're fairly shy, they're very skittish around humans, so seeing them in the trees is very special. They do like to freeze just like statues because they get scared very easily. Now the animal over there on the tree line to our right, that is an okapi. Now it does look like it'd be related to a zebra because of those stripes on its legs, but it's actually a closer cousin to the giraffe.
Okay.
Now that kind of proves that not all family looks alike, but they are very shy. They were only discovered in 1901, so we are still technically learning a little bit about them, but we do know that they are in fact related to the giraffe. Two characteristics help them be related. One is the 7 vertebrae in their extra long necks. The next is their nice long tongues, helps them wrap around the foliage of the leaves that they eat, strips it right on down. Maybe we'll get lucky enough to see their cousins a little bit later tonight. As we come on through the Ituri Forest, I do invite you to keep your eyes peeled on the tree lines. You never know who could appear. Lots of different animals, including the black rhinoceros, call the Ituri Forest home. And as we come around, I do want you to look on the hillside. It's going to be a little hard to see right now, but a black rhinoceros did just walk right behind those rocks, and we might get a chance to view it as we come around. Black rhinoceros are highly endangered. One of the only places you can see them is on a protected reserve like this one. Gonna go ahead and take a look in the trees. It might come a little bit closer, but it is there. I did see it walk on by. Now, black rhinoceros unfortunately aren't being poached for those beautiful horns you see upon their snouts. It's going to be right up in the tree line. Now, those horns are very selfishly being taken by humans, and they are made out of keratin, which is the exact same thing that our hair and our fingernails are made out of. So we're taking something from them that we as humans have an abundance of already, and really do not need to. Now, on a lighter note, as we head up this hill here, we are going on towards the Safi River. That is a well-known hippopotamus territory. As we come around, I do invite you to keep your eyes peeled not only on the shoreline, but in the water itself. Hippopotamus are mammals, but they do like to submerge themselves and spend most of their time in the water. So with what you see looks like a boulder, it's a good chance that it is a submerged hippopotamus. Now, like I said, they are mammals, and they do need to come up for air to breathe, but they have a very impressive skill of holding their breath for over 8 minutes at a time, which is incredible for a mammal who does need that air to survive and breathe. They are also highly territorial, which means they will protect what they deem as theirs. So there's going to be one a little bit closer. There's going to be one a little bit on our left-hand side behind the island, as well as a little bit further ahead. Now, they are vegetarians, which means they do eat the foliage and plants that they have around their riverbed homes. They're known to travel over 2 miles away just to look for new food. It's going to be right there in the water. We'll take a brief stop up here for you to go ahead and check that out. These are Nile hippopotamus. Now, they look big and friendly, but unfortunately, these are one of the most dangerous animals on the entire African continent. So they will not be one that you want to come up to and approach. 2.5 tons of pure don't mess with me. They will protect anything that they deem as theirs, including their territory and their young. That was a Nile hippopotamus, like I said. Now, if that was a Nile hippopotamus, that means these are Nile crocodiles over here on our left-hand side. Now, Nile crocodiles are one of the stronger animals you will see here on the reserve from tip to tip, and they can be over 20 feet long.
No, you're fine.
Now, those jaws you see right there have 2,000 pounds of crushing pressure per square inch. So when they get a hold of something, they will not let it go, and when they do, it is not going to look the same at all. Do that math, 20 feet long, that jaw can get a little bit bigger. 2,000 pounds of crushing pressure per square inch. No, thank you. We are heading on towards my very favorite part of the reserve, but for those of you whose first safari it is, I'm very excited to share it with you. We're heading on towards the savannah. Get those cameras ready. Lots of animals do call the savannah home. One of our markers that mean we're heading in the right direction is the baobab tree. It's that spooky looking tree right over here on our right hand side. Now, it looks very plain, it looks very unassuming, but that tree is actually one of the most fascinating plants you will find on the continent of Africa. Now, the baobab tree does remain leafless most of the year, only sprouting leaves every 9 months or so. But by doing that, it's able to store up the water it gets in the wet season inside of its body, almost like a well, and could survive any type of weather for upwards of 2,000 years. Now you might say, Nikki, what's so special about that? Well, it actually is an incredible utility for the animals. The animals do know that they can go to the baobab tree as a source of water, just in case they cannot find water for themselves out here on the savannah. They'll tap into the tree and get the water that's stored up inside. That way they're able to survive and get that water they need. Now, welcome to the savannah, my friends. This is the wild Africa where we're working so incredibly hard to preserve, and there's going to be lots of animals we come on across. I promise you we will get a chance to get closer. I'll tell you about them as we come around. But this is the wild Africa we're working so hard to preserve, and that's exactly why the Harambe Wildlife Reserve was founded back in 1971. It's our job to help protect both the environment and the animals that we have in our lifetime so that the future generations can enjoy them just as you are doing right this second. Now if you take a look right over here to our left-hand side, in that shady spot, you will see a pack of African wild dogs. They're taking a snooze right on down. Their coats do blend in fairly well with the dirt. They've got a nice calico color to them, so they're also known as the painted dog. The only related relative to those domesticated puppies you might find at home. Now they are pack hunters, which means they do hunt all together. If one of them eats, they will all eat. By doing that, they'll chase their prey to get down as a whole family. Attack, and then it's almost like a family meal every single day. As we come around the savannah, you might notice these funny looking mounds all across the grass. Now these look like anthills, but they're actually not. These are termite mounds, and they're created by tiny little insects who have acidic-like liquid that they secrete. Helps bind together the dirt and clay of the savannah, build these structures up. Now these structures look flimsy, but actually they are as tough as concrete. The animals are fond of using them as scratching posts.
There you go. Keep your hands
right over there in that tall grass, that large antelope walking past, that is a Patterson eland. Patterson eland are one of the larger members of the antelope family. Males will be much larger than females. It's a little hard to tell them apart because they both will have horns. But their size alone is enough to tell apart a male from a female. Males will be over 6 feet tall and over 2,000 pounds, much more muscly than the females. Whereas females will be a little bit more petite. Looks like we're going to be coming across a male here. You'll be able to tell it is because of that sheer size of it. It's going to be right next to our truck, so we're going to get a fantastic view of it. We'll go nice and slow as we go on by. Now it may not look like it, but these animals do have an incredible ability to jump in the air. This friend here can jump 6 feet in the air if he wanted to.
He's in beautiful shape. Where are you scratching for you? So cool.
Now we do have lots of animals up here on the hillside. We have Ankole cattle, Maasai giraffe, and springbok. I'm going to talk about a couple of them right there. Of course, I'm going to talk about those Ankole cattle first. Those are those horned animals you see on that hillside. They're the only domesticated animal you will find here on the reserve. Watusi tribe of Africa are the ones who did domesticate them, but they are still wild. They were never used as food. They were actually used as a source of currency and status in society. So, the more Ankole cattle you owned, the richer you looked to your neighbors, the better chance you had of getting married. Those horns you saw atop their heads, they can get upwards to 6 feet tall. They look very heavy, but they're actually not. They're honeycombed inside, which means they can circulate their blood up inside those horns on hot days, bring it back down a lot cooler than it was before. Now look right up past that tall bush there. That is a Maasai giraffe hanging out. Now Maasai giraffe are the tallest animal you'll find here in Africa, or on the face of the planet for that fact. 20 feet from tip to toe. Now Maasai giraffes do have a little bit different of a pattern to them compared to the other members of the giraffe family. A little bit rougher on the edges, a little bit browner. But those long necks do help them get to the tip tops of the trees to get to that leaf dinner that they want. Those necks are only supported by 7 vertebrae, just like their cousin the okapi we saw before. They have 18-inch long tongues, so that's about the size of the tip of your middle finger to roughly your elbow. It's about 18 inches depending on how big you are. That's how long the giraffe's tongue can get, and that'll help them get even higher into the trees to get their meals. Now I'm very excited. We've had some elephant spottings out here on the reserve lately, and I'm going to be taking you through on a shortcut. We already have a spotting right over here to our our right-hand side. Looks like African elephants are passing through, so that means we are headed in the right direction. And I will warn you, unfortunately, a lot of our pathways that we would take normally as a shortcut have been wiped out due to rough weather here in Harambe. Had a lot of rainstorms. As you can see right here on our right, that's usually the way we would take to get towards the elephants and the red clay pits. But luckily, we have a very handy warden that does call the reserve home, and we were able to build a makeshift bridge. So I will warn you, it's kind of crickety, it's kind of rickety, it's kind of scary, but we haven't had any problems with it today. We're just going to take it nice and slow. I think he did a pretty bang-up job for what we had out here to build it with. We don't get many supplies out here on the reserve since we are so far away from the nearest village. But like I said, we'll just take it nice and slow. Keep our fingers crossed that today will be the day that nothing bad will happen. So far it is so good, nothing bad. Short half over. Fantastic, not too bad. Looks like it held up for another journey, and that is fantastic. Turns out it's even shorter of a shortcut than we would have gone before because we're already in the red clay pits. Look along the walls, my friends. You will start to see tusk marks, which means the elephants have indeed passed through here. Those tusk marks indicate that the elephants have come through to scrape off bits of the red clay and known to ingest it for their minerals. And there's the herd starting to appear over on our left. And I was correct, these are African elephants, and I will take a stop briefly right here before we continue on to see the rest of the herd. Now the reason I can tell this is an African elephant is by looking at its ears. Now the African elephant's ears are indeed shaped like the continent of Africa. So no matter where they go, these friends will always have a bit of home with them. We're going to continue right around, take a stop just past this bridge here. We are also going to get a fantastic view of the Maasai giraffe who's decided to visit this area as well.